If you were to ask someone, what
Hello, this is Zeth Makula. This is the first official audio commentary track for one of our videos. Me and Jace, we wanted to take the opportunity to go through the very first Zetheroni episode and just kind of talk about how we made it, different experiences making the first video, just compared to now. So, Jace, say hello.
Hey, I think this is gonna be a good video. I love the Speed Racer retrospective. It's one of the best things that Zeth has ever done. Some say he peaked. I say time
that's
will tell, but
that's
I wouldn't
true.
be
I
mad.
peaked with my very first video.
Very first video so far. Okay, never mind. But yeah,
Yeah.
we're just kind of want to run through it and just kind of point out some things we found interesting while it kind of plays because it was a long, arduous process to get this thing up and running. So
Yeah, it was. I know for anyone that has been with the channel for longer than a year or so knows we did not do videos like this before this. It was mostly podcast episodes. I think maybe we had one different video at the time. Perhaps I could be wrong, but we did not do retrospectives or, you know, uh, comedy esque videos. Or Jace, you have your product reviews you do every once in a while. So this was the first for a lot of things. So it was a long
it
process,
was
that's for
pretty
sure.
bold. It was
Yeah.
so impressively good. This was a joint effort, but this is Zeth's video by far. He had to find all the footage, all of that stuff, and I don't know, you just got it so right, and the views kind of reflect that. It was the most tight editing, it flows super well, and it was such a good topic at the time, and it's one you felt passionate about.
Well, I mean, at the time, like, there was not a lot of Speed Racer videos on the internet. I think there was, at the time, 4, and I think not a lot of them spoke very positively of the film. So I was disappointed with that. There wasn't a video out there that reflected my views of the film. Uh, Same thing with how they got the film. Most of them said the same thing, like, "Oh, I don't like the monkey and Spritle. Oh, uh, the races are a little too quick for me. Oh, the colors are a little too much." They would all say the same thing. There was only one that actually liked the video, and I believe it was from the Game Grumps. And they reviewed the movie, and they were the only ones who spoke positively about it. But it was more like just two people talking about the movie. They weren't necessarily like a big video talking about and breaking it down entirely. So
Yeah.
that's part of the reason I wanted to make this.
But yeah, and as far as the video goes, I think that the way you went back and talked about like the original anime and whatnot was the most fluid, like it made the most sense from most of the videos that you've done. I think that they tie in really well together, and as far as the topic goes, it also helps that there's so many stinking funny moments from that show that you can kind of interject and just kind of show where it came from, because it is a goofy show by far.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point I wanted to come across. Like, a lot of people say, like, "Oh, the movie's way too goofy for me," and it's like, okay, but that's kind of what the original show was. It was a goofy anime cartoon that, I mean, like I say right here, there's giant spiders. There's guys that they there's one guy that has a broken arm, I think, and he uses his one arm to drift real hard on two wheels. Uh, so the original show was goofy, and that's kind of just what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I as far as how this video kind of went about, I don't I don't think either of us were really prepared for just how much effort goes into making the big old video essays.
No, 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 not at all.
Like, I would love to not show my face as much sometimes in various videos, but every time I'm just like, as much as I struggle with recording my face, especially by myself, I really just don't want to scour the internet for hours of B-roll footage that I don't want to deal with the copyright, any of that. And so it's so much work to get all this stuff up and going.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to do with this one originally. It wasn't going to be like I consider the Zetheroni series, like comedy-esque, Scott the Woz kind of angry video game nerd-esque episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not as high quality as those are at times, but they're sort of comparable to them. And I wasn't going to do that at first. This was going to be a very straight to the point documentary almost about the movie. And I switched that a little way through my writing of the script because you kind of need a face to latch onto when it comes to content. If you don't really have a face to latch onto, that can be a little challenging. So
just ask Dream. Oh, sorry.
No, I totally agree. Like, you just need something that is instantly recognizable, whether it be your face or the icon that you use for your channel, like if it's an animated guy. So that's when I decided to, show my face and try
it was a good call having you in person at the beginning, and it also didn't hit well, I guess you kind of you were in the beginning, but it wasn't like overly long. I feel like the pacing was great, especially it was a good hook.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes into our next thing we can talk about. We what I did for you, and I know you probably hated it, but this video took longer to make than the Hot Wheels video did. And the only reason for that was because I quite literally would go over like 5 minutes of footage for a week. And I would make you watch every single second I would add. I'd add like the littlest bit of music, and I'd be like, Jace, you got to check this out. It changes everything.
Yeah, it was quite the time when he'd be like, no, I swear this section is different. And I'd watch this 30-minute section of film just for him to show me, like, I don't know, a photo of the Jonas Brothers he threw in because he thought it was funny. Just it was just so it was so goofy. But hey, I mean, he was excited, and I blame him. I had a good time making it too, and I don't know, that was just a good time overall. I think it really showed me how much you cared about this project, and it really comes through in the video.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, I mean, we showed a bunch of people before the video actually came out. Do you remember we showed Trent, we showed Luca. I think I showed Quinn an early cut of it. So there were a couple differences. I think mostly it was the audio department that was the biggest change, and that comes from your side. But also mostly the comedy live action bits throughout. Those were added probably a good few weeks before the video came out, whether it be me in my Indiana Jones outfit or me pointing out like, for instance, this right here. I think this was added a couple weeks before it came out. A lot of the jokes I weren't 100% on while I was editing it, so it was a last minute kind of decision to add the humor.
Yeah, and I almost kind of wish you put more humor. I mean, they're long videos, you can only do so much, but I think that this video does kind of set that gold standard for just how often you make like a really good joke in it. I really like that part of it. And I also think that the little skits that we do, they're never, I don't know how much, like, they're often at the end of the videos. So the ones that get it kind of get it, but they're always my absolute favorite part to make. Every single time, that's like, hey, I got some lines for you. You can watch the bloopers. It's such a stinking good time. I love just playing a different character, and I'm sure Zeth has to go through like 10 takes to where I'm not laughing saying the lines. I'm so bad about it. But that was one of my favorite ideas. And yeah.
No, so you play the therapist, the crazy therapist.
Yes.
And that is inspired by Scott the Woz. I know you know that more than anyone. Mm-hmm. But we have like our own spin on it, where it's not someone getting therapy because they played a bad game or watched a bad movie. It's someone. Sorry?
Not until the second one.
Yeah, so I mean, oh yeah, but I'm getting therapy because I think it's a good show. So it's kind of like one of those things where I wanted to play off the internet as well, because the internet constantly said She-Hulk was bad, so I'm like, I want to come out with an actual good video of She-Hulk, and that's where I came up with your character.
And I love that. I love playing that therapist so stinking much. I wish I don't know. Going back to this video, there's just something about it. It's so charming. It's such a the way you mixed everything, the clips, the voiceovers, the jokes. I think that this is a gold standard for comedic timing, basically. I love me some good comedic timing. And man, as I'm watching this video again though, your video, I love it, man. I don't know what to tell you. It brings me back. It brings back so many good memories.
It really does, dude. Like, you know, before this, I didn't have an editing computer, so I was using basically like the family computer that had no RAM whatsoever. So for part of the video, it would take forever to load, and I had to wait like up to 15 minutes for it to load all the information once I was getting to like the 20-minute mark. But then that's when I got my own editing computer, and now I'm fine on that front. But you know, I have the utmost respect now for those people that do like those really long videos, because we just did our first hour and a half video, the Hot Wheels Acceleracers video, and that was a nightmare to make almost. It was fun, but I mean, making those large videos at times is really a challenge.
You'll watch some people, I'm not going to name names, but they'll make insanely long videos, but they'll just be packed to the brim with just all these cuts and every little editing thing. And it's like, now that I've gone through with it and edited things, it's amazing just how much effort goes into just making like one little funny thing fly across the screen or something. I just cannot believe how much effort some of the bigger YouTubers go into just to make a 10-hour video, for instance, that's just absolutely filled, and it's actually entertaining. That's the hard part.
We've got that challenge coming on here soon with the Godzilla retrospective, because that's looking to be like 20 plus hours, but we'll see. We'll see. Your sound editing, you're going to have fun on that one. But speaking of sound editing, you were the one that wanted to tackle the sound on this, because my sound editing skills were atrocious back in the day.
Yeah, and I've gotten better at it, but it's still a very long process. After watching Zeth show me the same clip 5 times, I then had to go through 5 times to make sure it all sounded good. So I know this video, I could probably say it beat for beat, and I didn't even like make it. It's so funny.
I know you and me were joking about that, because weren't we playing games one time online, and someone stated that, and we just beat for beat, like just read off the script.
I swear I got the first 5 minutes just locked in there.
Yeah, we got those first 5 minutes locked in our brain for like the rest of eternity now.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. It is hard. It is genuinely hard to do audio sometimes, especially when you're working with so many clips and you're working with just so, like, you know, the more complicated the video is, the better. If it's just some guy talking, you do the whole thing and you're done. But Zeth did not turn his down. And he did it over so many different voice recordings that every single one was different and chopped up. And then I spent so many hours editing the audio on this thing. It was, but it turned out great. I am super pleased with it.
Yeah. The sad thing about this video, though, is I actually lost the original file of the Adobe edit. I still have the original files when it comes to like the exported video, but the original Adobe file I copied. And if you don't know Adobe Premiere Pro, you cannot necessarily copy files or move them around, because then Adobe, like where you import the files, doesn't like that. So I actually lost the original one because I copied it not knowing any better, and then I deleted the original because I didn't need it anymore. I copied it into a hard drive. And so we do not have the original edits anymore of this.
Oh, you wrote it over?
No,
hard drive?
I just don't have it anymore. It's kind of weird. I have it, but at the same time, it's a copied file, so you can't access the original edits anymore.
I might actually have a backup of it. I might give that a look.
Oh, okay, that works.
Could we talk about that thumbnail though? That
Oh
was
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing that I did. And for one stinking little thumbnail, I spent hours. I brought people over to be like, "Oh, is this shade? This shade of yellow? No, this one. No. Oh, should we do the fade in the checkers? Oh, I'm so proud of that thumbnail. He
Yeah,
looks
you
right
did.
at you. He's looking in your soul, saying, "Click me. Click this video, please."
Yeah, you did really good with that thumbnail. I didn't know you spent hours on it. I just know that there was one day you just said, "Hey, Zeth, here's the thumbnail," and you showed it to me. And I think I gave you the suggestion of putting something behind the logo, and that's where the circle comes in. But everything else, that was all you.
Yeah.
In fact,
I
all of the Zetheroni episodes, all the thumbnails are yours, except for the anime one. That one's mine.
Yeah. Yeah, I try with thumbnails. That's another part because it's like you can't make you can make the video as good as you want and it can be the most amazing video ever. But if you have a crappy thumbnail, no one's ever going to click on it unless you're already just huge. So these are things kind of you learn as you do this kind of stuff, just how important some things are that you may not even think about. Why do you think Mr. Beast, every time you look at his thumbnails, it's like the most oversaturated, almost scary looking face you've ever seen, just with the soy face, just because it works. And it's such an important part of the brand.
Yeah, and luckily, we've gained a little bit of a following now where we don't have to necessarily worry as hard as we did back in the day. But they're still just as important, and you always do a really good job on those.
Yeah. Overall, I think that this whole experience making videos, and especially this one, was kind of our first big undertaking. Again, it really just shows you how much work goes into videos that you may just play in the background and not think twice about. I do it all the time. And it's just people kind of think it's easier than it is sometimes, especially with like TikTok and whatnot. But even then, even a 15-second video, you got to make sure they watch yours. And so just every single bit of this basically movie was just painstakingly went over by both me and Zeth to make sure everything looked right, everything sounded right, it was kept interesting. And I don't know about you, Zeth, but I wasn't quite ready for that when we started making this thing. I was like, oh, he's making a cool little like looking back video.
Well,
but
I did tell you I was going all out, but I don't think you realized how out I was going.
I was thinking days, not months, man. But it was. I'm glad we put you especially put so much effort into this. It turned out really nice.
Yeah, and people might say, oh, a 30-minute video took you months to make. This was our first video. Like before this, we were just editing our audio for the podcast and just putting over a few trailer clips once in a while before we started to show our face for the podcast. So this was truly like the first big thing that we ever tackled when it came to actually trying to edit, to sound edit, to actually put out some good content. Because before this, we kind of started the channel as a joke, if you remember. I don't know.
Yeah. Go listen to our first video. I was like, Zeph, my mic's coming in tomorrow. And he's like, we're recording tonight. So you get to hear my lovely PlayStation Gold headset mic in all its glory.
Yeah, we just kind of started it because, everybody kind of had a podcast during COVID. And COVID was starting to let out, but, some places were still a little restrictive. So I just thought it'd be fun for the people that were our friends that maybe had COVID and that had to distance themselves. I thought it'd be kind of a funny idea to start a podcast for them and just provide some content, maybe, laugh at a movie or two. And it's kind of just evolved from that. We've got almost 2,000 subscribers, and this video's got
there.
Almost 200,000 views, which I can't even fathom the amount of people that is.
I think I'm going to try to make a special video for the 2,000 subscriber mark.
What are you going to make?
I have a feeling the one we're gonna record here soon that I've been thinking of, we might save that one, make it a special one,
Oh no.
and then I might start
Okay.
working on a different one in the meantime. But we'll do that first. Get that made. I think that'd be fun. How long is the script? Do you remember?
Oh geez, it's pages long. It
It's a lot of
was
talking in this video. Like it's super long. It's so many words. I can't even.
Yeah, like I made this mistake on the first video, this one I made, and I learned how important it was to write out your script 100% first and then start to edit. And once in a while it's fun to like write your script and then edit and then go back to your script and kind of add some things because then you can get a little more creative, because that's what happened with this one. Like I wrote my script out a little bit and then I started to edit, and then I went back and wrote some more of my script, and then I edit and then right back to my script. The bad thing about that is you can hit a lot more creative roadblocks when you do that way, at least for me personally. Sometimes, you want to edit, but you don't want to write, and you have to write. Sometimes you want to write, and sometimes you don't want to edit. There's just sometimes that creative roadblock. So for now, what I do is I try to write out my script 100%. Some things I might leave question marks to add something or maybe think of something later, and then I edit 100%. And that actually makes me able to make videos a lot more faster now than what I was able to do, because I was only putting out last year, like I did one video every like 2 months.
Yeah, that's how long it took to make them, though.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you especially are able to write down a script like that, make these kinds of videos, because boy, I really struggle with them. When I have to write out a big long, I love doing like the live stuff right now. I like doing the podcast and all that, but I have probably 3 complete Jet Set Radio Future videos on my hard drive, and I did 3 different ones because I'd be like, "Ah, I did it. I wrote it all out. I recorded it, and I'm watching it back, and I'm like, I look like I'm being held hostage. I can't do this. It's so
Oh man, I'll have to take a look at those and see if you might just need a differing opinion.
maybe I'm sure I could like smash them all together, but I I do struggle reading from a script because every time I start reading, I'm like, oh, maybe there's a better way of saying it, and then I get lost in my train of thought, and I'm like, I don't even know where I was.
No, I'm 100% with you. Sometimes, I go off my script, and I'm not very good unscripted. With the podcast, it's a little different because I have you to kind of guide me there every once in a while. But with these videos, I tend to stick to the script very hardcore, and I don't ever really go off the script.
Yeah, and I don't blame you, especially like a documentary type series. It is a lot better because you're almost providing just information, right? Like you don't have to be. I'm not saying you're not personable, not one bit. I like the way you present things, but there's the other spectrum, which is most YouTube videos where they start out like, "Hey guys, welcome back to the channel." They have all this going, and then I try to do that, but then I'm just thinking it's like I'm just alone, dark in my room. Like my parents can hear me. It's like I'm just yelling at this camera. I can't like I have a lot of respect for the YouTubers, and even it's just not a skill that I was able to learn effectively. So it is kind of nice to do the documentary style though, because you could just kind of be like, "Hey, this is really cool. Here's why," and then you kind of provide your sources and talk about it.
Yeah, it is a little strange to me still to do videos every so often, because you're in your room, you got a camera to your face, and you're just talking to yourself. It can be a little awkward, especially like I don't have. I mean, I have confidence in my humor, but not 100% all the time. Sometimes I'm like, "Oh, this joke is really, really good." Other times I'm kind of hesitant, and I have to have like you look over it and see what you think about a joke. Other times I might record it and edit it, and then once I see the final product, I'm like, no, not really. Like for my what is it called? My anime video, the entire ending was different. I was in the front of the fireplace, and I had some guy in the background yell out, "The One Piece is real," and stuff like that. But then once I edited it, I was like, that's not really that funny. And then I changed it to what it is now, and I think it's a lot better than what it was. So sometimes it can be awkward and weird, especially seeing yourself and editing yourself. That's probably the weirdest thing. But in the end, if you can turn out something really, really good, it's one of the most satisfying things, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I think you just kind of, I'm not saying you don't have the struggles for it, but I think you really do have a knack for this kind of thing. I think that this is really just what you're very suited for, and I just enjoy being able to help you out with that.
Well, I mean, it's a joint effort. I mean, we started this channel together. We'll go down on the dying ship together as well.
True. And yeah, I think I'm still trying to find my footing a bit for what I really enjoy, but I think I'm getting really close. I have a few videos I want to try that I just think will go a bit better for me. Let me be a bit more in my element. But I'm really, really glad you found yours early on, and that you were that stinking good at it, and kind of were able to put in the time and dedication to make sure it was something really, really nice.
Yeah, because I just wanted to do some stuff that not a lot of videos are out about it. Like Voltron, for instance, is my next one. There's like 2 videos on the internet that cover the history of Voltron. So that's what I want to do. The same thing with Speed Racer. There was 4 at the time, and they were not the greatest in quality. Not saying my video is the most amazing thing, but at the time, I did like it a lot better than other people's videos, and it expressed my opinion as well of why it was so good.
Yeah.
Hot Wheels Acceleracers. Our video is the only one on the internet that goes over the history like that of Acceleracers and Highway 35, and in such detail. There's a lot of other videos that cover like the characters and such, but not necessarily the history of the making of the show and why the show was so incredible for a kid.
Yeah, and I think we do a good job finding that niche and really catering to it, because whether or not a video does pretty well, it's nice knowing that we weren't just pandering to people, and that the people that really cared about it at least got to see it and enjoy it. And there is a lot of there's a lot that you can gain from that, and like in terms of you could kind of feel proud of that, like you were able to help the people that enjoy what you like learn things about it that maybe they didn't even know, and it just kind of helps the communities um, just in general.
Yeah, like for this video, for instance, I know we get like the odd comment every once in a while that really didn't watch the video, or just didn't understand the video. But a lot of the comments on this video I appreciate so much. It's, sometimes it's way older people that are in their 60s and 70s that have watched Speed Racer when they were a kid, and they're like, oh, thank you so much for making the video or whatnot. I grew up with Speed Racer, and they start telling about their history with Speed Racer. Or someone else is like, oh, I thought I was the only one who liked this movie. Or other people are like, oh, I forgot about the movie.
Yeah.
So those are always the coolest comments to read when someone tells about their history with the movie or why they enjoy it so much. I really, really love reading those comments.
Yeah, I'm looking through them even right now. I love there's so much support, and it is really nice when somebody comments something like some of the ones I see. You can just kind of tell that it touched people, and like even when he brought it up to me, he's like, "I want to make a video about Speed Racer." I'm like, "Man, I haven't thought about that movie in years. What do you see? What about it?"
So what you just saw, that one scene where everybody's cheering when he does the cool drift, that was actually, if you remember, one of the first things I edited. I wanted that shot in the video, and I think I did that even before the intro was in the video. That was one of the first things we edited.
I remember that. I remember seeing because you had to like map it and everything. It was so. I was like, maybe this has potential. This looks good. That's kind of funny. I think. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I like that we're able to make things that don't necessarily have to cater to the algorithm. If we were only looking to like min max views, all that stuff, our channel probably wouldn't look the way it does. But I like that we're able to We just it doesn't hurt and we do like the support that we get. I think it's very nice. But it's not all dependent on that. I think I like that we're able to make things that we deeply care about, and are, even if it's not necessarily mainstream, we're able to put that somewhere that people who actually care about it can see. We're not just slaving away making videos that we don't care about, or that, just doing all this stuff that isn't really us just to get some views and such. And it's nice that a video like this, when it goes viral, it kind of shows, like, it's not just some corporate AI bot farm, top 10 fun facts about Speed Racer. You can tell that somebody who actually cares about it wrote it. And so when those kind of videos pick up, I think people kind of get to see a really nice side of what YouTube videos are, or can be.
So for this, I wanted to hammer into everybody the year of the movies that this came out, because what a lot of recent Speed Racer videos have done, or videos in the past, is every time they explain why Speed Racer failed, it's always because there's one article on the internet, and it's the first thing that pops up when you type in "why did Speed Racer fail." It's the thing that everybody says, and they all say, "Oh, the film
The stock
marketing."
market.
No.
Oh.
The film marketing was changing from less bright and colorful stuff to more darker stuff. That's why The Dark Knight did so well, or that's why The Dark Knight did better. And it's like, I guess to a certain degree, but it wouldn't have flopped as hard if it came out in a more better time frame. Like I say, it should have released in the fall and winter, because by then all of the movies from the summer or the early years, or the earlier in the year, were done. Like I said, the only major release from the fall was Benjamin Button.
Yeah, it was poor timing. And I feel like with the internet, obviously the internet was around back then, but I think the cult followings for movies is getting a lot more mainstream. That's why movies that didn't initially do super well, like Spider-Verse for instance, was just pretty good, like, not reception. The reception was great, but it just didn't do like crazy numbers because people were able to share it online and stuff. A lot of people got to see how good of a movie it really was, so then it picked up, and then they got a big sequel, and that's doing insanely well. If this movie were to come out maybe around this time, people would have a different opinion of it. People would have more of appreciation for it, especially when we're coming out with so many stinking sequels and just lame not one-offs. I appreciate them, but there's just so much meh out there, especially the past few years, that this would be a much better time to release a movie like this. And it is kind of a breath of fresh air to watch it. 4K Batman and Robin.
That
You'd make a
irritates me
compelling
so
point.
much that they do a 4K version of that movie, but they won't spend the time to do a 4K version of Speed Racer. Speed Racer on a 4K Blu-ray would look incredible.
I don't know. They don't often do a great job at the 4K upscales. And I wouldn't say it's an ugly movie.
Well, for this, it would look better because a lot of it is computerized. That's where 4K really shines. A lot of those 4K up-resing of like old 80s movies, they look bad because they're not meant to look good in 4K. Like they weren't meant for that.
This is such a weird ending, man. I still don't exactly know what you meant. Because I'm like, oh, he's going to make a Majora's Mask video next, of course.
So that was actually the plan. What I was planning on doing with the series to differentiate it from other videos was, what I wanted to do was, when a video ended, that's where the next one picked up, and the end of one video was like meant to tease the next video. So my next video was going to be about Majora's Mask. It ended up not, because I wanted to tackle something else. And in Majora's Mask, if you look at the end, that's sort of like what I was going to do, but then it kind of devolved into a joke of like things I don't really like or appreciate. Like, I don't really appreciate Majora's Mask, or I don't appreciate Star Fox Zero. But that entire series right there, I thought of in 20 minutes, basically. I think I was playing games with you and Emma Gaddis, and we we're just talking, and I was just like, I gotta go, guys. And in less than 20 minutes, I storyboarded that, thought of it, edited it, and that was the ending.
And yeah, even though I'll admit it's confusing, it branched off into such a wonderful series of videos.
It did.
That if no one else, I'm totally messing it up. It's that comment. It's like if they have 100 fans, I'll be there. If those videos have 10 fans, I'll be there. If they only have 1 fan, it's me. And if they have 0 fans, it's because I'm dead. I will forever love the skits. I think we should make more of them.
Jace, I'm not adding that. What is? You don't even make any sense with what you just said.
You don't need to make sense.
Okay.
That's fine by me though. But anyways, I do love the I love the little skits. I think we should make more of them.
Yeah, no, we definitely will, especially with, the Godzilla retrospective. I'm thinking of all the fun zany things we can do, because all of our friends want to be in that video, basically, they all said. So that'll be fun. But thanks for watching.